Hello, and welcome to Bright Books Virtual Christmas. I'm your host, Portia Bright, of course, founder of Bright Books, a publishing company focused on inspiriting brighter futures for tomorrow. This tour has been about highlighting children's authors all over the country, of course, who are doing just that for our youth. And we have a very special guest who's doing just that for this segment. Her name is Jasmine Pitt, and I want to tell you something about this dynamic guest. She is a mom and author with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, where she currently resides in the state of Maryland. Jasmine employed a pharmaceutical company that specializes in treating cystic fibrosis patients. Jasmine is one of three biological siblings out of six that are adoptees. Her first book was inspired to help cultivate the conversation between parents and adoptee children about their particular family bond. She believes it is important that parents share with their children their extraordinary journey on how they became one themselves. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Jasmine Pitt.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Jasmine. How are you?
I am well. I'm well. Thanks for asking.
Wonderful. You're looking fabulous. I'm loving you. Awesome. So tell us the name of your book. Of course, I like actually how you got into, becoming an author.
The name of my book is My Family Chose Me, and it is a children's picture book. And I don't know, I kind of dibble-dabbled and thought about it a couple times, and then one morning it was just like, write the book. And I did, and over the period of months, I just started writing and writing and writing. And I was like, next, let me find an illustrator. And really at that point, it took off. I was like, I'm dedicated. I'm done with it. I want to actually see it to fruition, especially after seeing other people's books and how they made theirs possible. It was like, yeah, I got to do it.
I know that's right. Of course, reading your bio, you've done phenomenal things. One thing that stuck out to me is you mentioned about being adopted and everything like that. Was that one of the things that inspired the book?
It was actually. I'm adopted, and like a lot of my brothers and sisters are adopted, and it's just not a lot of things I remember growing up that was out there that looked like me, or even was based on adoption, besides sister, and Tia and Tamara. But for the most part, that was it. It was very, especially for Black people, it's very limited. So I figured, I wanted to write about adoption, but more so, I wanted to write about, a Black adoptee, and then someone who's also biracial in those Caucasian or Black families, and how they deal with that culturally and things like that.
Right. Now, in your book, of course, you're all about cultivating the conversation between parents and adoptees. What has been the response thus far from a lot of people who have received your book, who may have been adopted themselves?
Yes, actually, a lot of people actually have not gotten the book yet that I pre-ordered from me, but they should have it in their hands next week or the week after next, so within 2 weeks. But from just cover review and just talking about the different topics, a lot of adoptees has reached out that I grew up with and never had any idea that they were adopted. But more so, they are thanking me for talking about it, because it is one of those subjects that are touchy and everybody has their opinions. But so the most part, the only people that we can really talk to is people that are adoptees, because only we really fully understand all of those emotions and griefs and love that we feel.
Right. Now, you mentioned that, it's important for people to actually have that conversation with their youth about children about, being adopted. Why do you think it's so important to bring that conversation up?
I think it's important because it encourages basically your family bond. It lets and reassures they're going to find out one day. So you don't want it to be 13, 14 when they feel like at this point you don't lie to them your whole life. Before I read the book, I actually was doing a lot of research into just adoption and adoption trauma and grief and things of that nature. And I was reading about 5 to 7 to 8 is a good ideal of when to start really talking about it, because of course the kid at that point has a especially if they look different, has an idea that they look different. But then they can kind of start understanding that they are different and this is why they're different. So then as they get older and they come to terms with, okay, yes, I have a family, but then I was abandoned, it's gonna come. So it's kind of like you're easing that whole thing over a period of time, instead of one night I just learned that I'm adopted, I lost a family, gained a family, and the whole 17 years, 18 years has kind of been, but make believe or something.
Yeah, totally. I understand that. That totally makes sense.
Yeah, the lies into it really hurt.
Impact. Wow. What age did you realize that you were adopted, when your family told you?
My family told me I was probably in like the 5th grade, but I want to say honestly, I always knew. Only because when we went out, it was
Okay.
always like I was an elephant in the room. It was like, oh no, where did you get her from? Oh no, like whose kid is this? So it was always obvious that there was something, but to actually hear from my parents, it was about 5th grade, and that was kind of hard because it was like at this point I knew this. You should have just said something. But again, I guess as a adopted parent, I can imagine how hard it is. But I guess that's one of those things when you adopt someone, you kind of selfless. So you have to be selfless in that moment too. Like, all right, let me think about them and not myself.
Right. Now I want to go back for a few moments because you mentioned that your book is on pre-order, so it's not available in stores yet. Can you share when
It's
it'll
not
be available and where people can actually pick up your book?
It is on Amazon, so you can get it on Amazon now, and of course, it's a free shipping if you have Prime. And then, of course, it is on my website. You can go to www.jasminepitwrites.com, and it is you'll be able to get it then. But the ones that was pre-ordered, they're all getting signed, and I'm have a lot.
Right. I totally understand as an author myself. Doing a lot of the groundwork, doing the shipping and signing books,
It's
it definitely can be time
overwhelming
consuming
at
and it
first.
takes some time.
Yeah,
Still.
yeah.
But isn't it exciting though? Like you're signing your book that you put the hard work
It
into, right? You're seeing your dream come life.
Yes, even just holding it and just seeing like the illustrations when I first drew up my pictures, I literally drew like little stick figures for each scene, and then I wrote like some words like little girl
Yeah.
with holding a ball, and to actually see photos, I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. It's a good process. If anybody else thinks about going, whenever they say, "Oh, what can I do?" And I'm like, "Hey, listen, the first thing you gotta do is just write the book. That's the hardest thing is writing the book."
Yes. Yes. Totally. What other advice would you give authors outside of, just going ahead and write the story? Like, go ahead and get it done. What advice would you give them that you experienced on your journey that they may can avoid on their journey as becoming an author?
Be persistent. There was times where I just was like, I don't know, am I wasting my time? Am I wasting my money? But even if you don't see your investment return right away, you will enjoy the experience. It is one of those experiences you can't. It's like graduating from college. It's like even if you don't ever use your degree, you cannot take away that experience that day and how happy you were and the emotions you felt. So I always say just be persistent because in the end it will feel good.
Awesome. What age group would you say would your book best fit for?
It is best fit between 5 and 14.
And your message that you hope parents and youth will receive from your book?
I hope that from the adoptee portion, I hope that they see that, there's other people out there just like you who are going through the same thing, noticing these differences. And it's healthy to talk about them. These people are not afraid to talk about it. You shouldn't be afraid to talk about it. As far as the adoptive people portion goes, of course, don't lie. Even to the audience, when you go out and you see families that don't look the same, and someone may be an eyeball out, it's like, don't stare, don't ask them questions as if they're aliens. I just put in so many different things because I want everybody around to get something from it. So it's like, I think that everybody from adoptive audience, people in the grocery store, laundromat, and of course adoptees should understand, and take something from the book.
Awesome. Jasmine, you're so organic. I know so many people are going to like really find this book as a gift to them, and they'll learn so much about the process. A lot of children have, are sitting in adopted right now, and some of them could be or may see that show on social media. What advice would you give them as they're wondering if they will find their forever family?
I would say to pray. Honestly, those times where I always try to figure out why or when or how or will I would say it will come. Like, peace doesn't come overnight, and that is something that I had to learn the hard way. And whatever you endure during that time, those are all going to contribute to great characteristics of you, along with being adopted or being a foster kid. They're all going to make you who you are. I mean, even when you think about all the superheroes, they're adopted. Superman, all of those people. It's like, it makes you a superhero, just in a different way.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, some phenomenal things. Can we expect another book to come out? Or are you going to be helping other authors publish their book? What can we expect from Jasmine Pitt?
Oh man, I am gonna write another book. I'm gonna do a book. This was gonna be geared towards the teens, especially when, like I mentioned before, at the age frame where you are starting to realize that you were abandoned, and then there's all that grief and wanting to find out who you are and who your mother are, who your father are. Touchy subjects for both parties again. So I'm definitely gonna write about that, just because, of course, there's not a lot of books out there that shows how we feel from this end. And of course, how we hear all the opinions of everybody else, but they should be selfless in one of those moments. And also, wait, I have a party.
Where can we find you on social?
It is private.
Go ahead.
It is private, so unfortunately you can't come, but I am gonna stream it in case anybody wants.
Repeat that one more time, Jasmine.
I said I am gonna have a book launch party on the 9th. It is private, so of course I can't. No one can come, or it's not really open to the public. But I am gonna launch it live in case anyone wants to check it out.
Awesome. Where can they go and watch the book party, launch party? What's your social media handles?
My Facebook is at authoress Jasmine Pitt, and my IG is at JP Wright, and then also my Twitter is also JP Wright as well. It's gonna be all three.
Awesome. Make sure you conversations around being adopted and encouraging our youth that they can actually come through the process, and they will head on over to her website at jasminepittrights.com, and also follow her on social media for more information and to pick up her book. We need those books out there in the public, and of course you can go ahead and pre-order. Jasmine, you're autographing books too, right?
I am.
Awesome. So go ahead and pick that up. Get your autograph. Make sure we flood the streets with this book. It chose me, and this is what we want to encourage our youth with, and this is what we see. Jasmine, we appreciate you sitting down with us, sharing a wonderful story with us, sharing the joy, the light that you have, and hopefully it will continue to light up the world. And we appreciate you. And of course, we're following you on social media. So stay blessed.
Thank you as well. Thanks for having me. You as well. Bye.
You're welcome. What a phenomenal conversation. I just love these book tours because they give us an opportunity to see how other authors' journeys are started and some of the stories behind their journey. And these are the things that touch our lives. That's why reading is so fun. And that's why Bright Books is all about inspiring brighter futures for tomorrow. So make sure you head over, check out our website. Of course, you can follow Bright Books, the virtual Christmas tour at brightbooks.org. For more information about what we're doing and how we're impacting youth in the future. So make sure you stay blessed. I'll see you real soon and happy holidays.